This section is about Chapter 1, First Meeting. Two strangers lock eyes on a rainy evening, but is it coincidence or the beginning of destiny? First meeting. The city carried autumn gently, like a secret it wanted to share. The air was cool and sharp, streets slick from a light drizzle that had passed earlier in the evening. Cafe windows glowed with amber warmth, spilling chatter and laughter onto the sidewalks. A saxophonist played on the corner, his music threading through the sound of trams and hurried footsteps. Above, tram wires drew thin lines against the indigo sky. Emma moved slowly, the kind of pace that came from wanting to notice things. Her light trench coat shifted with each step, and her sketchbook rested securely under her arm. The pencil tucked behind her ear had left a faint smudge near her temple. She paused at the window of a bookstore, drawn by the way the golden light fell across rows of spines. To her, a bookstore was always an invitation. Across the street, Daniel emerged from the metro. His workday clung to him in small ways. The rolled sleeves of his shirt, the loosened tie, the messenger bag heavy on his shoulder. He pulled out his phone, scrolling absently, then looked up. His gaze landed on the bookstore and on the woman standing outside it. For just a second, their eyes connected. Neither of them smiled at first. It was simply awareness, recognition in a sea of strangers. Then Daniel allowed a small, genuine smile to cross his face. Emma blinked, startled, and turned quickly toward the door of the bookstore. Still, she felt the flicker of something she hadn't expected. Inside the bookstore, the air smelled of paper and wood. Emma let her fingers trail over spines as if they might whisper their stories into her skin. At a table stacked with travel books, she paused and lifted one with a map in shades of blue. Behind her, the bell above the door chimed, and Daniel stepped inside. They arrived at the same table almost at once. Emma looked up from the book in her hands as Daniel spoke. "I went there once," he said, nodding at the map. "Lisbon. The pastries nearly changed my life. Honestly, they're responsible for half my personality now." Emma laughed, surprised, unguarded, musical. "You look like someone who wouldn't betray a pastry," she teased. He grinned at the sound of her laugh. "I'm Daniel," he said, offering the words like a handshake. "Emma," she replied, brushing her hair back behind her ear, though the pencil stubbornly stayed in place. "Do you travel for work, or just for pastries?" "Work," Daniel admitted. "Software. Mostly spreadsheets that pretend to be adventures." "And you?" "Design," Emma said, tapping her sketchbook. "Sometimes useful, sometimes just stories. Depends on the day." Their words found a rhythm quickly. They stood among strangers, yet somehow the space between them felt like it belonged only to the two of them. They spoke of travel, of books, of bad movies that were secretly good. Each time another customer passed between them, they waited, then picked the thread back up without hesitation. Later, they left the store side by side. Outside, the evening had deepened into indigo, and rain began again, fine as silver threads. Daniel offered his umbrella. It was hardly needed, but Emma accepted anyway. Beneath its small shelter, their shoulders nearly touched. They stopped at a narrow bistro Emma knew. Inside, the tables were mismatched, candles flickering in jars. The waiter led them to a small table by the window. Outside, the city blurred into watercolor. Inside, it felt like the room was listening. Conversation grew easier. They spoke of family, of cities that disappointed them, of relationships that had ended too quietly. Emma compared heartbreak to discovering a room had been empty for months, without realizing it. Daniel said love was like maintaining a bicycle chain. You had to keep oiling it, or it rusted. They laughed at each other's metaphors, but also nodded, understanding. They shared dessert, a pear tart they didn't really need, and lingered longer than either of them meant to. When the rain softened to a drizzle, they stepped outside again. Music floated across the square, a violinist playing under a striped awning. Emma and Daniel stopped, listening, neither of them speaking. The music filled the silence, like a truth they both recognized. At the edge of the square stood an old photo booth. Emma touched the curtain with a fingertip. "I have a superstition," she said. If you take pictures with someone you've just met, the photos reveal the truth you're too shy to say. Daniel laughed, but followed her inside. The booth was cramped, knees brushing. The first flash caught them by surprise. Wide eyes, half smiles. The second captured them deliberately, shoulders pressed together. The third was unplanned, Emma laughing as Daniel turned mid-joke, the moment blurred with motion and joy. Outside, they examined the photos under a street lamp. Their fingers brushed, light and unintentional. "Tomorrow?" Daniel asked, his voice more certain than it had been an hour earlier. Emma smiled. "Coffee by the river. 8 o'clock." At the corner, they finally parted ways. Daniel walked backward for a few steps, grinning before turning away. Emma lingered, tucking the photo strip into her sketchbook. The city felt different now, brighter, as if the streets themselves had noticed. That night, neither of them slept easily. Daniel made tea he never drank, smiling to himself as he arranged books on his desk. Emma sat on her bed, tapping the photo strip against her knee, then taped it above her desk with careful hands. Beneath it, she wrote in small, neat letters, a beginning that knew itself. The rain returned, softer this time, brushing rooftops and trees. The city, alive with 1,000 stories, quietly added theirs to its collection. If you love romance, emotional storytelling, and cinematic vibes, this is for you. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and share this story with someone who believes in true love.